Hi there, this is Steve. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first visit, welcome along. If this is you coming back to see again, thanks for coming back. I hope this is going to be of interest. So this video is going to be my final sales update from my Boom Bales case study. It's been a few months now. If you haven't seen any of these videos, you can find them I created a playlist so you can see basically what it's about, where I bought them from. You can see me unboxing the 3 bales, and then over time you can see what couple of months of what sales we've made. So the last one I showed you was a Marks and Spencer's woman's black coat. So let's have a look and see what we've sold since then. So first up, we've got a Jack Wills padded gilet, and I'm just going to whiz through these fairly quickly. That sold on Vinted for £12. After I'd listed everything, the purchase price of each item was £1.30. So in this instance, we made £10.70 because there's no fees on Vinted, and the postage is paid for by the person buying the item, which is always nice. So you get a bit more money. And then next up is a French Connection hoodie sweatshirt, sold for £10 on Vinted. Again, £1.30 purchase price. So we made £8.70 on that one, which is always nice. And then let's see, we had a Paisley Boys blazer, sold for £10.50 on eBay. Sold that for £7.50 and £3 shipping. Everything is £3 shipping in my eBay store, unless it's a larger item, and then I charge £6. Used to do free shipping, but it didn't work for me. So that's the case. That took 19 days to sell that one, so fairly quick. And then it's a sweatshirt, Eat Your Greens, Joni. For that sold on eBay for £15, which was £12 plus shipping. That took about 12 days to sell, so pretty good, not too slow. Then we had a Mark Robbins acrylic jumper. It's quite nice if you like that kind of thing. That sold on Vintage for £8, and that took about a month to sell that one. And then we have a pair of Zara jeans, which sold on eBay for £10 and £3 shipping. So we made £6.48 on that one after all the fees, and that one only took 3 days to sell. Some of these take the time to list is actually the day that I place my order. So when I bought the bales, that's the day I bought them. Then it took a while for them to arrive to me, and then obviously you have to take them apart. And then I made the videos and showed me unboxing, and eventually I listed them. This, from the time it took me to list it, once they were listed, it only took 3 days to sell, which is the kind of stuff you want to see. You want to turn things over quite quickly, which is a good thing. This was a Marks and Spencer's Aqua Fleece, sold on eBay for £6.99, £3 shipping, and that one took 3 days to sell, so pretty good. Then we had a H&M long sleeve top for a lady. This one sold on eBay for £5.99 and £3 shipping. I may have taken an offer on that one. That one took 3 days to sell, so pretty good again. And then we've got a pair of Nike jogging bottoms, grey ones, sold on eBay for £5.99, £3 shipping. That took 4 days to sell, so a little bit longer, but pretty quick. A Hollister coat, ultimate down coat. This sold on Vinted for £19. I listed this for £25. Actually, I took an offer on that one, but there's no fees involved. So we made £17.70 on that one, and it took about 2 months to sell that one. So that's one of the first ones we listed, thinking it would sell quickly, and ironically, it took longer to sell. Could be the time of year as well, because I bought these in August, so not many people were really looking for coats in August, but they are now. Then we've got a Zara hoodie. This sold on Vinted for £8. That took 5 days to sell. And then we've got only a few to go. We've got a blue vanilla jumper. That sold on eBay, this time for £10 and £3 shipping. And that took about a month to sell. We made a whopping £6.48, which is all good. They all add up. Obviously, whenever you sell on eBay, you're gonna make less money because of the fees. Then we've got a Hollister hoodie, sold on eBay for £10 plus shipping. A nice round number. People like round numbers. That was probably an offer, so that was probably listed for £12.50, and I've accepted an offer. That took 20 days to sell. And then we have some trousers, Folk Freddy, £20 plus £3 shipping, sold on eBay, took 9 days to sell. We made £15 and a penny on those ones. And then we've got some Zara hood sweatshirt, basically. That took 9 days to sell, that one. Sold on eBay for £9.99 and £3 shipping. So pretty quick. And we've got another coat. So Hobbs of London. So this took 16 days to sell. This sold on Vinted for £27. So that was a good one for us. We only paid £1.30. Time to sell about 2 months. So same deal really. Listed it in summer. The weather was nice back then, which is why sometimes you have to think about these things. And then I really didn't expect to sell this. This is from George. This was almost going straight to the charity shop, but it sold for £4.99 and £3. So it was worth listing, but it did take 2 weeks to sell it. But surprised that it sold anyway. And then we've got Jack and Jones Originals kind of zip up half fleece, sold on Vinted for £15, and that took about 2 months to sell, but worth the wait. And then we have H&M boys jeans. These sold on eBay for £6.99 and £3 shipping, and that took just over 2 weeks to sell those. We made £3.92 on that, so some you make a bit more on than others. And then the last few, there's a wax jacket, and that sold on eBay for £24.99 and £3 shipping. I thought that some of these would struggle because there was 1 or 2 marks on it, but it's usually for people that are working outside. They don't worry too much. Took about 2 months to sell that one, but pretty good return, £18.66. And then the last couple, a champion shirt. Now this one sold 26 days and actually had a message for it. It only sold recently actually, and it came back and there was a little tiny hole on the pocket that I missed, and the chap was nice about it. He just said, okay, thanks, because I sent it really quickly. He's like, thanks for sending it fast, did you know there's a hole? And I didn't. Anyway, we had a bit of back and forth, and I gave him the opportunity. I would happily take it back, or he could have a partial refund, which he chose, and I just refunded £3, which would have been the cost I paid for postage, and he was happy with that, and positive feedback's been done. But overall, so that one realistically, I sold that for £6.99 and £3 shipping. That was on eBay, so I didn't make a lot of money on that one, £3.91. But it's okay, and it's my fault as well, just from an inspection point of view. When you list so many, and it's a really tiny hole. It's not on the pictures, but when he sent me his picture, you could see it. So I didn't dispute it. It is what it is. So anyway, that's one of those things that happens from time to time. I don't get many, 1 in 100 maybe. And then I recently sold 27 days to sell this one. So this is a Charles Truich men's shirt, and that's sold on Vintage for £10. Okay, so that's all. So that's all of the sales. So let's just go back and have a bit of a recap. So right from the beginning, I bought 3 50-kilo bales. You had to buy a minimum of 3, and they were £50 a bale. So £150 for the clothing themselves, and then the shipping was £80 for the big heavy pallet that it came on. So I spent £230, and after 2 months, we've generated £721.36 in revenue, less our £230. So we've had a net income or a net return of £337.79, which is pretty good. And I've still got currently 132 items still for sale. And if everybody pays what they're listed for, which they won't, it's about another £2,500. So realistically, maybe 1,500. Maybe 1,800 if we're lucky. But longer term, this is probably going to be something like turning £230 into something like probably 2,500. So around about 10x. Lots of work involved, lots of processing. If you have a look through the case studies, you'll be able to see what it's like in terms of how the bales arrived and what we did to do when we sold them first. So if you've seen these already, then obviously I'm teaching you stuff you already know. If you haven't, you can just get a feel for how much work is involved Yes, it's nice to get all that extra money at the end, but if you don't do the work, you don't get the reward. So that's it. Now, I've really enjoyed doing this, and actually, I really want to say thanks to Stuart again for putting me onto them, because I hadn't heard of Boom Wholesale at the time. During this whole process, they merged. So about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, they merged with Off the Hanger Wholesale, and the Boom Bales kind of went offline, couldn't log into my account for a while, and they've come back. So they came back originally. So the Boom Bales Vintage Wholesale World is what they rebranded to. And then they realized that, actually that's not going to do them any favors, because over the years they'd spent money on pay-per-click advertising, Facebook ads, and they'd grown organic traffic to their website. So a change of website wasn't actually going to help them. They are now back as Boom Vintage Wholesale, and that's the kind of the end merge of Boom Wholesale and Off the Hanger Wholesale. Website looks good. The Boom Bales that we've just done the case study on no longer exist. They've become another one of many that sell. I think they're still going to do very well. But the case study I've just done, where, to be honest, if this was still running, I would have bought another 20, 30 bales. I would have just stocked up and bought loads. They don't exist anymore. So where I paid £50 for 50 kilos, the alternative now is to get mixed boxes, and it's done by the kilo. It's very different. It's a lot more expensive. So 15 kilo box for £245, whereas I spent £50. Well, I spent £150 because you had to buy a minimum, and I got 150 kilos. So we got 10 times more for less money. So yeah, my whole thing only cost 230 quid, and I got 150 kilos. So I've been watching this. I'm kind of, nothing really jumps out at me to say go ahead and buy it. I'm not. That's interesting. I often wonder why would, I mean, I know they need to clear their stock, but this has got a hole in it. This one's dirty. It's like, yeah, who's going to buy it? I don't know. There must be a market for it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. So anyway, I'm kind of watching this space. It's a shame. I thought I'd found kind of like my supplier. That's my go-to. Vintage wholesale supplier, just absolutely rubbish. I bought a lot of bales from them. They just, after their little merger or their takeover, Wing 999, is it? Yeah, it's not gone well. So I'm kind of looking for a new supplier. I'm going to still use Boom Vintage Wholesale, but I'm going to wait for Black Friday. Let's see what happens. Let's give them a few months to see how this evolves, because this might be what it is all the time. They've obviously got to make money. I understand that. But it's not as attractive as it was. So let's see what happens. Fox Vintage Wholesale I still use. I'm still going to use. I'm going to do the update. I've caught up with all the items I had for listing. I wasn't planning on putting my cycling jerseys live, but I've almost finished them. I'll probably update that next few weeks. I'm just kind of tidying up and getting ready for the push for Christmas, I guess. So anyway, as it stands, I'm kind of fluid. I'm not. There's no allegiance to any of these wholesalers at the moment. If I find one that's really awesome, I will spend lots of money with them, and if I don't, I'll just keep looking around, and I might have to go back to go around charity stores, which I'm not a fan of. And actually, I look at other things. I was always going to buy in bulk. I'm always going to buy in bulk. Anyway, that's kind of the wrap up on the Boom Bales case study. Like I said, maybe in a year's time, I will do an end of thing once I've sold everything. But for now, it's been really good. I think it was definitely worth doing. There was a lot of work, but it was good fun as well. So, and I just hope you found some benefit in seeing this. So, got lots more videos coming up. I've got time on my hands now, so I'm going to be getting stuck into those. So as always, I really appreciate you coming along. I know this was a bit of a longer one and I've rambled a little bit, but I do appreciate you coming along. Over 50 subscribers. Thank you to everybody that's signed up and is finding this stuff of interest. If there's anything that you're doing that you think needs a bit of kind of shouting from the rooftops, love to hear how you're getting on, and we'll go from there. So as always, take care. Good luck in your own business. I'll see you in another video.